Even someone who hasn't had a baby, maybe has never even held a baby in his life, still knows one fact about these little bundles of joy. They never want to sleep through the night. For frustrated parents who don't know how to get Junior to settle down for the night, the first thing to know is this. Don't worry, you're not a bad parent. Even the best of us, like the medically trained, have had trouble.
When I was a young parent, even though I was a pediatrician, I really had no idea what to do when my children would stay up all night, sometimes crying. Quite frankly, it really was very stressful for my wife and myself.
Putting your baby to sleep will probably be something new parents always struggle with, but we can give you some tips to make it a little easier. Now, most babies really can't be taught things until they're about 4 months old, so until then, do the best you can to get them to sleep as much as possible. And sleep when they sleep, so you can get some rest too. If your little one is still waking up a lot at night once they're 4 months old, it's healthy to try to train him to sleep through the night the same way you will train him to use the potty or recite the alphabet in the coming years.
The most important thing, first of all, is that when you put the baby down to sleep at night, the baby should not be rocked to sleep in your arms. The baby should actually see the crib before he or she falls asleep. Why is that? Well, baby will wake up in the middle of the night, even if the baby doesn't have a sleep disturbance, see the crib, and say, in baby talk, "This is not how I fall asleep. I have to fall asleep when mommy or daddy rocks me to sleep. I don't know what this thing is." Babies, however, who are put to bed when they're still slightly awake and they see the crib, they start to learn that the crib is the instrument of their sleep. Oh, this is the crib. This is where I fall asleep. So that, number one, is very important.
Of course, your baby might not always agree that bedtime is actually the right time for him to go to sleep, and he'll let you know his displeasure. Loudly. A baby's cry breaks any parent's heart, but one way to teach your baby how to sleep is to let him soothe himself to sleep, with some moderate comforting from you, even if it means some crying.
This is one of the methods of putting a baby to sleep. If you don't go in immediately, but the first time you wait about 5 or 10 minutes before you go to the baby, and then put the baby back down quickly without fussing a lot or walking around a lot with the baby will probably cry again. And the next time, instead of waiting 5 or 10 minutes, you wait about 10 or 15 minutes to go back. And the third time, if it goes on, you do it longer and longer. It does take many nights to train the baby to do this, but it usually is pretty effective.
This method should always be done sensitively, and you can always comfort your child if he becomes hysterical. One common comfort that should be kept to a minimum is bringing in a bottle whenever the baby cries at night. The same way your baby should learn that the crib is where he sleeps, bringing food with you whenever you come into the room will teach him that crying at night is rewarded with a delicious bottle of warm milk. If that happened every time you cried, who would ever sleep through the night? I wouldn't.
Number two, it's really not healthy. It's not healthy for any of us human beings. We really physiologically need to sleep and not to eat. Nobody should be waking up, and that includes adults. You might want to get up and have a beer and a ham sandwich, but in the long run, it's really not good for your health. And having a baby have a snack, which they don't need in the middle of the night, they will get all the calories they need by normal feeding schedules during the day. So it's very important to try to refrain, even when you do go into your baby, to simply briefly comfort the baby, either by patting or if you have to, pick them up briefly and then go out of the room as quickly as possible. No bottles.
No two children are exactly the same, and any parent of more than one will probably tell you that they didn't all fall asleep the same way either. If these methods don't work for you, talk to your pediatrician about some other methods that might get Junior to sleep through the night, like shushaby. The most important thing is creating a safe and secure sleep environment for the baby and finding a routine that works for both of you. I'm Dr. Mike Rosen, and you're watching the eHealth Network. Sweet dreams to your little one.